Hello everyone and welcome to GuildGab episode 76. This is a show all about everything Guild Wars 2, and today we will be talking about, of course, the Super Adventure Box has officially returned for April Fool's Day, and every year from now on it is the Super Adventure Festival. And we're also going to be talking about the legendary drama with legendaries no longer being produced for the game, but we'll talk about all of that and more today. Inks is ready. First, let me introduce my wonderful co-host, MMOINKS, Corvus Plays, and our special guest today, Deroir Gaming. What's up? Yay!
Hi.
Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks for inviting me.
Absolutely. So for anyone who possibly doesn't know who you are, where can we find you on the net, and what kind of Guild Wars 2 content do you do?
I mostly do YouTube videos on YouTube/Deroir Gaming, or I'm occasionally, very occasionally, on Twitch at /Deroir. Everything that the Peachy bot says, you can find me right there. I do fun stuff and interesting stuff, yes, and intelligent, hopefully, stuff.
Yes, we were talking about your we talk about your mind spikes a lot, both on the show and behind the scenes, because we love them.
I'm glad.
We were actually considering on like one of our slow news weeks to talk completely about the Eternal Alchemy, the all like that one. We were just like, is this guy a scientist or what? Like explosions and universe.
Yeah, I get a lot of those like ideas just randomly from my girlfriend, actually. The spacey stuff and all that, like she's astroscientist, like weird stuff.
What?
It sort of just mixes into the world, and I'm like, yeah, let's talk about that. That's fun.
Cool. That's awesome.
Glad you guys like it.
I love them. Well, I'm a lore nerd. I love the lore, and so I love it when somebody can help explain it to me, because I miss a lot of the little details a lot. So I like when I'm like, oh, now I get it.
Yeah.
Anyway, Super Adventure Box. Actually came last night, like April, March 30th.
Before the reset.
It surprised everyone.
It did.
I had to jump in there real quick and see if I could complete the dailies before, like, the actual reset of yesterday. To take advantage of that double reset, you know.
Did you?
That's the most important thing.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. gotta get those achievement points, right?
Gotta get them extra baubles, the achievement points,
yeah,
the credit for the whatever the one achievement is. You gotta do 8 days in a row.
8 days.
Well, not in a row. I keep saying
eight of the Super Adventure Box dailies, and you get what, an orange weapon?
No. It's actually you gotta do three
dailies. Right.
3 for each day. It's like a new daily. It's called coursework or something.
Yeah.
And you gotta do 8 of these coursework, which unlocks for doing 3. Blah, yada yada yada.
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
And that gives you the orange weapon, or no. I don't even know. I haven't been in the game yet.
Skins, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
The orange skins.
Right.
Okay.
The snake, whatever they're called.
Kaiser. Yeah. It was really cool.
Kaiser snake, yeah.
Really
cool glow, really cool effect. So if you do 3 dailies 8 times, you can get one of those skins.
Cool.
Or if you go ahead and do the collections, which is what I've been doing all morning ever since like 10 till like 15 minutes before we went live, you gotta farm all the other weapons. Gotta farm every single green weapon and every single yellow weapon. And then you'll but if you do that as well, you actually get the infusion as well. The SAB infusion, either red or blue.
Oh,
yeah. And I need those. I need those so badly.
What are those? I have no idea.
It's a very subtle glow.
Yeah, really, really subtle. I think like some pixels kind of float up around you.
Yeah, I've seen the videos. I can't even tell that there's a glow at all. I really kind of wish the glow was a little bit brighter than it is, because I can't really see it. On the weapons, obviously, that it's easy to see, but on the person, like they had the infusion on the person, and I couldn't really see the glow very well at all. You can kind of see the little pixelated like dust or whatever that's coming up, but I couldn't tell blue versus red versus none. It's a little hard to see.
Right.
And for the amount of work that you have to put into it, it should probably be a little bit brighter, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I personally I enjoy the like the subtlety of some of them. Like most of them are really flashy. Like the shoulder pieces that we've seen, like all the auras and the ghostly infusion, extremely flashy. And I for one at least appreciate the subtlety of one of the infusions now. I think some of the other ones get a little bit extreme at times, especially when you start stacking them. Like speaking as someone who's running with the ghostly infusion and the Winterstay shoulders, usually like it can get a little much if you just piling.
It's good to have that option.
No, stack all the infusions.
Stack everything.
You're a giant
Just
mess.
a light bulb.
But of all the infusions to be subtle, there's nothing subtle about Super Adventure Box. So
Yeah,
that
that's a
shouldn't
good
be
point
the
as
one
well.
that's subtle.
It's good to have choice, like to have the ones that are a bit more toned down and a bit more subtle. But Super Adventure Box ones kind of should have been a bit more flashy, I think.
There's a Super Adventure Box glider that you can preview in the hero panel. I assume that's just
It's
going to
actually
be a gem store
looks like
skin.
a jetpack.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's like a jetpack with wings.
Yeah,
nice.
it's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool looking. I just, again, wish it
What's
was...
it gonna cost? Thanks.
We'll get to that in a second. I just wish it was. I just wish it was in the game for doing something. Like the orange weapons are awesome, obviously, and the infusions are really cool for like completing those collections. I don't know. I wish the glider was some kind of. I don't know what kind of achievement it could have been, but I wish it would have been some kind of in-game achievement for SAB. It's going to cost 500 gems. Calling it now, just like I called the bubble glider. It's going to be 500, and it is. This seems to be the new price point for gliders with any kind of effect at the very least. They might still sell non-effect gliders for 400. We haven't seen any of those yet, so who knows if that's going to retain its old price. But the new trend seems to be 500 gems for any kind of glider with effects on it. The bubble, the ironclad. My guess would be the Super Adventure one. That will... Who knows when it's going to be for sale? Probably next Tuesday, but I guess we'll have to wait and see.
Probably.
I looks good. Love that idea, but...
Do you think that it just has to do with if they have more flashy effects, it takes more developer time, so they feel like it's worth the extra 100 gems?
I'm sure that's probably true. I'm sure that it does take a little bit more time. How much time? I have no idea. I'm not a artist or modeler or anything like that, so I don't know. But my problem with that argument is we already have things like the Heart Glider, the Snowflake Glider, the electromagnetic glider where you're shooting lightning everywhere. We already have those very effect-heavy driven gliders, and those were all 400 gems. So all of a sudden, because Ironclad now fits in this 2,000 bundle price, and kind of inflates its value some. So it seems like you're getting a better deal, or you are getting a better deal actually, because those bundles are worth 2,625 or 75 gems, but you get it for 2,000, so you save 600 something gems by buying the bundle. And I do understand that, but that means that outside, when you buy it singular, a la carte, then that means now that they're 500 gems, and the bubble is 500. I would expect Super Adventure to be 500 as well. If it's 400, I will be pleasantly surprised, but I don't think that's going to be the case.
What about the Infinite Continue coin being in a bundle? And that's the only way it's currently available.
I noticed that as well. I had it previously, so I haven't even looked into it.
Now, the last time
what does
SAB
the
was
bundle
out,
consist of?
it was sold by itself, right? And I don't know how much it was, but but now it's only available in a bundle. You get the Infinite Continue coin, you get the B-Dog mail carrier, which is also the only way to get that mail carrier, I believe. I don't think you can buy that separately. And one other thing that is escaping me. You get 3 different things for that bundle.
You get like continue. No, you don't get continue coins. That wouldn't make sense.
That wouldn't make
You get the Super Adventure box.
Oh, there's
boxes.
a fun box. Yeah. Yeah.
I think you get a couple or something. I don't know how many.
Which I think
Money
is
well spent.
basically just a box of fun that's skinned to Super Adventure Box. It has like the little happy cloud that comes out.
It does Super Adventure Box things. It turns you into the monkeys and the frogs and whatever.
Oh, okay.
It's fun. Would I spend gems on it? No way. Yeah, I don't know. I always, anytime they do these bundles, I think bundles are a great idea. But I also think that you should add them for individual price if people want to buy those things. Now, if you already have the coin, like, you wouldn't care about this anyway because you get the B-Dog for free for having the coin for so long.
Right.
But if you're a new player, or if you didn't buy the coin last time and you're like, okay, you know what? It's a festival now. I really believe that they're going to bring this back every year. I'm going to buy the coin this time because I want to get the new skins. I want to get the orange skins, whatever the reason is. Now you have to buy the whole bundle, which might not be a bad thing, but it should still be offered, like, separately, I guess.
Mr. Glorious Bees in chat actually says that the infinite continue coin was 600 last time, and the bundle costs 600 now. So there's no real change, but I do see the point.
If that's so, then...
They've just bundled in a few more things.
That's a good deal.
Then I guess
the
that's
thing
a
is,
good
like,
deal.
it just creates
so
this...
then, if it's the same
illusion.
price, it doesn't matter then, I guess, because you're getting it for free. It's just
They
that
don't
I
got
wonder how many players really know that... Like, you'd have to go dig that information up, right?
Right.
Like, obviously, I didn't
for sure.
know
Right.
that it was...
I
I
mean,
didn't remember from 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I actually
So-
thought it was 700, to be honest. That was my memory.
Right.
Playing with me.
You've still got that stigma of a bundle. And something only available, something as valuable if you're a Super Adventure Box fan as the Infinite Continue coin being in a bundle only. Of course, you're going to have, people aren't going to remember that it was the same price. They're just going to see that it's in a bundle. So, I don't know.
I wonder. Yeah, the wiki's your friend. That's great, but you need to in game. You need to express to people who don't go to the wiki, who don't go to YouTube videos, and there's plenty of them that don't. You need to express that somehow. That's like you're buying. I don't know how you express that exactly.
Well, the best way to do it would be to have everything listed separately, and then you can see that the bundle's cheaper than if you bought them all individually or something. I think giving people the option to buy, as little as they want is quite important.
It's the whole
because
point
like
of
you're saying,
in this
for
case,
microtransactions.
But in this case, though, the B-Dog mail carrier is free, and so are these fun boxes that come with the coin, because the coin's going to be 600 anyway.
If you had the coin previously, you could just go to Moto and you would get the same things from him for free.
Right. Yeah, you do.
Bundled in.
Which is very good guy ArenaNet. That's very nice.
Yeah. Have you guys got it?
Yeah.
Curious
No,
question.
I never had.
I never got the Infinite Continue coin. My experience with SAB 2 years ago was I was not as good of a player as I am now, and SAB made me very frustrated. And I don't quite know what it was exactly that frustrated me so badly. Like, I just died over and and this was a normal mode. I just died over and over and over and over. And I tried it solo, I tried it with friends. Like, I don't know why. I just had a very tough time with it. So I'm excited. I haven't had a chance yet, but I'm excited to get back in and try it again and see how my experience differs. I think I'm gonna like it a lot more. I don't know if I'm going to love it, but you never know. I didn't think I was gonna love raids, but I do. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
I've had my experience was basically the same as yours. I had like a really bad PC then too, so I obviously wasn't playing very well.
Yeah.
And I never beat even World 1 last time, but I went in and beat World 1 in like one go yesterday and had like loads of fun with it. So I don't know.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's good, but yeah, I never bought the continue coin or anything. I enjoyed it, but I probably only went in there a handful of times when it was here. And then obviously they took it away for 3 years, so it's pretty torturous.
I mean, the continue coin is only worth anything to anyone if they continuously want to do tribulation mode for the actual skins. If you're just doing normal mode, don't buy it. Like, really, don't buy it. It's not worth it because The regular continue coins you get, no problem. The amount of baubles you get, you can easily buy your way out of it. It's only when you start dying so much from trial and era that it actually becomes worth it, because the cost of getting all the bauble bubbles and getting the upgrades and all that for completing everything or going through everything, that's a lot of baubles you gotta collect. I mean,
that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's good to know. Yeah.
I wouldn't advise anyone just casually going for it, but
I went through Tribulation World 1, Zone 1 yesterday blind. Like, after 2 years of not doing it, I didn't remember a damn thing about it other than I'm going to die a lot. So I think I used up probably 40 lives in that first zone. So that's 40. That's how many lives are you going to continue coin? 10?
Wait. I don't know.
I have an infinite coin, so I don't remember anymore. But
exactly.
It just gives you extra lives when you use it, I think.
So, however many lives it is, but 40, basically 40 lives worth of coins, however many that comes out to.
10 baubles is one life, or one continue coin, and one continue coin is 5 lives.
Okay.
Right.
So 10 baubles equals 5 tries, and a full bundle is obviously 25. Yeah, that's the pricing.
So 40 lives. That's quite a few baubles, quite a few coins if you don't have the infinite one. And that's just World 1. That's just doing it one time. If you're trying to do the collection, you need to do World 1, Zone 1 16 times. And then you need to do the other 2 zones, and who knows how many times I'm going to die in those going through blind the first time.
The only reason why the infinite coin is actually worth it is because they've limited the time that SAB is up, because it's perfectly viable to go through the entire thing and get everything. You're just going to do it at a much slower pace, because all of the you're going to use a lot of baubles just on the lives. But if it was a permanent thing, like if SAB was permanent, people would just go about it slowly. But
Right.
the fact that we're just rushing it, we need these baubles so fast, we need all the upgrades, all of that, that's what pushes people to buy it. And I mean, if it's a continuous thing, if it's actually going to come back this time, then I mean, you don't even have to buy it. You can go back and get your stuff next year.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, unless you're like me and you rush everything. Like
I do still
maniac.
have a bunch of baubles in my bank from 2 years ago. I was like, it's gonna come back someday. I don't have that many, but I'm like, I'm gonna save these just in case. So might be good to go in right away and give
And
it
anybody
give it a
who
try.
saved that stuff benefited from it, because all of the wigs and the dresses and the tiara,
Oh yeah.
all you can exchange all that for extra baubles. If you don't need the continue coins, you can exchange those for baubles. So all that stuff can boost the number of baubles that you can get to buy whatever it is you're looking for.
Just to put it in perspective, like every single blue weapon, which is purchased with the bubbles, and bubbles are purchased with 250 baubles, you need 560 bubbles. That's 140,000 baubles just for the blue things.
Oh my
140,000. That's a lot of stuff. I mean, that's a lot of grind. If you also have to use that for lives, yeah, there's no way you're gonna get that.
Wow.
But I mean,
What do you guys think about it only being around until the 19th? Not even a whole month.
can I?
I mean,
I like the idea. I like that it's an exclusive thing. It builds up the hype, and it sort of brings people back when the time is needed, so to speak. But personally, I would love to see it as a permanent installment, because to me, it's a jumping dungeon. It's nothing more, and it fits perfectly right beside every other content in the game. It's just like it's its own niche with the same concept as everything else in the game. And it fits perfectly as a permanent thing, but I do understand why they keep it as a yearly thing, just to get people back in and get people hyped and keep it exclusive in a way. It's not to say that I like it, but I understand.
I'm glad that they've committed to a yearly schedule. They've told us this is going to be a yearly thing. It's going to come back every single year. And yeah, when I read that, I was like, oh, thank God they told us it wasn't just like, it's going to go away in 2.5 weeks, and everybody is going to be, well, we're not going to see it for another 3 years, you know. So I'm so glad that they've committed to this. And,
Do you
and
think
maybe next year we'll get another world, maybe not. You know, I think that's just going to depend on how much development time they have.
Totally are. I mean,
Yeah, we have to.
The Kaiser is that's the giant snake. It has to be a thing. Like,
Yeah.
it's coming. It's coming soon. You can't even. What I was told, I haven't tried myself because I haven't been through World 2 yet. But what I've been told is that the genie. I don't know how much you guys know of it, but World 3 used to be like just this short instance with a genie inside it, with a mini game. It has a very, very dark story in it, but that's for another time. But that's actually been closed. The entire World 3 is closed off. You can't even enter into the genie. So maybe they've just pulled everything out and they're actually working on that thing.
Yeah, I think so.
At least that's what I've been told. I haven't confirmed it myself.
You can't go to the genie anymore, which was a thing you could do. There was also when you got to the genie, you could put in the old Contra code or the old Konami code, the up down down, and that had like an extra section or something. I forget what it did exactly. It had an extra section for story.
It was story outside, like the genie. Just like spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't done Super Adventure Box. What you did was you went into this genie, and the genie tells you that you need to win the Super Adventure Box. You need to go and destroy the true enemy of the Adventure Box, of the Super Adventure Box. And there's always there's this ominous thing like, why do we have to destroy this whatever? But you leave the Super Adventure Box and you go to Moto's old crew.
Right.
Where apparently he was thrown out of for doing a prank that he has no memory about. And you go and destroy their work, and they're basically working on the same thing as Moto was for the entire time, like a learning machine.
Oh yeah.
And you go and destroy their work, and this Asura he gets crazy inside this machine, and he starts seeing the orange. He is the color orange, and like this whole weird thing happens. Yeah, he gets completely insane. And you destroy it, and you return to Moto, and you say like, "Yeah, I did what the genie said," and Moto's like, "You probably shouldn't talk about this." Sort of like that's where it goes to, and it's sort of hinted all around the Super Adventure Box in Crichton that you shouldn't talk to the genie. Like on books and stuff, it just says, "Don't talk to the genie."
That's so cool, man.
So like, there's this hidden like what's going on in the shadow box, as they call it.
What I love
creepypasta.
about it is it's a separate story from everything else. It doesn't have anything to do with the dragons or doesn't have anything to do with anything other than Moto and his crew and this Super Adventure Box that they were working on. And I love that it's this separate little story, and I really hope that they continue with the story aspect of it as well. Not just Super Adventure Box, not just World 3 and etc., but I want to see the story like actually evolve and be finished at some point.
I would love to see where the story goes. Like really.
Definitely.
I remember being extremely excited about it just because it had this weird ominous feeling to it. Like,
there was something much darker and more sinister going on behind it.
It's the contrast, the happy music, the bright colors, and then the sinister narrative.
I remember reading that. It was like in a blog post, or when they used to do those little lore blog posts. Like I forgot that there was all that lore behind it.
Yeah,
well, they totally have to continue that.
Creation.
Ain't don't leave us hanging on more lore, please. I mean, come on. That is really intriguing. That makes me excited.
I need more SAB.
That makes me more excited about it for sure.
I reckon we definitely will get another world next year, and I'm glad that they're doing this. I think maybe they could have done it a bit longer than just to the 19th. I think it's up or something. Yeah. They probably could have done it to the end of April, and that would have been cool. But I'm actually really glad it's not a permanent thing. I think like the value of the skins and the kind of novelty and excitement around it benefits from being this kind of, like, oh, it's only here for a few weeks. Guys get excited and jump in and play and stuff like that. If it was here permanently, I think it would slowly kind of empty out. Plus, it's kind of, I guess, confusing for new players to basically find this whole other game within the game in like a starting city, like their capital. You know, if they make an Azura as their first character or something, they're going to see this portal, and then, you know, it's. I think it's good to be like a festival, and it gives us another festival to be excited about as well, seeing as Dragon Bash probably isn't coming back again, and all this other stuff. So,
So do you think that every April we're going to get Super Adventure then?
Yeah, I think it's going to be
yeah.
an April thing, an April Fool's Day. Hopefully, they do other April Fool's things.
yeah,
Like,
that's what I was going to say.
I mean, they've done, because that was a big thing, is people got in game today and expected, you know, the bobbleheads or the aviator, you know, the things that we've had in previous years. And there wasn't anything like that. There was, you know, Super Adventure Box returned with new rewards and stuff, and there was some trolley patch notes, which they do every year, which I love. They're so hilarious. But there was nothing else, nothing like that the general population, like if you don't care about Super Adventure Box and, you know, you don't go read those patch notes, there's really no April Fool's thing at all.
Yeah. And I was kind of disappointed. Well, not disappointed, but I expected something, you know, just on the side, especially because SAB kind of dropped early as well.
It did, yeah.
So I thought something would happen, you know, at midnight or whenever.
I really expected something, like I said last week, something that's sellable in the gem store. Because the last 2 years they had the bobblehead and they had the aviator, and then they sold those in the gem store so that you could do it anytime. So I was like, oh, well, every year they're going to do something like that they can then sell in the gem store. So I was very surprised that they didn't. But having SAB back, I mean, you can't complain about that.
No, I mean, if it comes back every year and maybe they add worlds to it, then
Can't complain, huh?
Challenge accepted.
But I hope they do start doing extra April Fool's things, even if it does come back every April.
Yeah,
like we kind of need
so
that
too.
flavor.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, if we are to digress just a little bit and speak about resource allocation, which has been a huge topic this last week. I mean, it might not be the wisest thing to focus on 2 April Fool things, like for the future.
That segue, you're hired,
because
sir.
we don't, because we don't know what's gonna get cut from it. Just
That's true. That's true.
I had to.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. I mean, this discussion has been going on all week, of course, talking about legendary weapons and how there was 6 devs working on legendary weapon design and the precursor system and the collections and all that. And they announced, if anybody possibly hasn't heard, they're coming out with the short bow. And I don't think they've said when exactly that's coming out, right? They said that's going to be the next.
They said, I think they said this is called the spring.
The spring quarterly update later this month.
So it should be in this release.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's probably on the 19th.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like SAB ends, the PvP season ends, and then everything probably drops on the 19th.
Yeah.
Maybe a week later.
Yeah.
Yeah, they said mid to late April, so I would be surprised if
I
it
think
wasn't on
it's
the
perfect.
19th. It would.
They
would
have left.
Perfect.
I think they would have left SAB in for longer, if just to properly sync up with when the spring patch is coming.
Yeah, for sure. So, after the short bow releases, they are indefinitely suspending work on all future new legendary weapons. And I know we all have a lot of big opinions on this. I've heard so many, and while of course for me, I guess, of course it's disappointing because I say all the time on stream, because people say, what legendary are you going for now? What's your favorite? Which one don't you have that you're going for? And I always say that I'm waiting for the next new legendary weapon that makes me go, wow, and that's going to be the next one that I go for. And how the legendaries that I've crafted in the past, I've loved the journey, I've loved crafting them, they're super fun to like slowly go after these weapons and slowly get the achievements. It was just a really, really fun process, and I was looking forward to doing it again. So that, isn't going to happen for a while unless the short bow blows me away. But for me, I'm not like, I'm disappointed. I'm very sad for the community and the people who, you know, who that's really what they were looking forward to. But I completely agree with needing to concentrate on making content that more players are going to enjoy, making that as good as it can possibly be.
Yeah. I agree with you. Like, to be honest, wasn't that bothered about new legendaries. I really like Nevermore, and I've, you know, been doing that, but it wasn't super important to me that we were even getting them, at least not right now. I'm more interested in the future, like more story and, you know, future expansions, all this stuff. And so I totally understand the move to kind of cut that away. I think but it's sore. It's like I don't know, it kind of opened up a wound because time and time again we've had these kind of things being told that we're getting and then kind of pulled back, and they've like eaten their words or cancelled stuff. And for a lot of people, this was a big selling feature for Heart of Thorns, and for them to basically cut off like an entire selling point of the expansion after we've all paid for it is kind of a bit, I don't know, it hurt a little bit, it stung. I personally don't mind that much because it's more important to focus on the other stuff, and I'm not too interested in new legendaries personally, but it's like the principle behind it all. It wasn't that great. It wasn't a good thing to read.
Yeah.
The biggest argument I've seen, because a lot of people want it, a lot of people just want the legendaries out, no matter the cost, so to speak. And then one of the biggest arguments that I've seen is why can't they just do it like the old system? I don't know how exactly you guys view this, but I have a very strong opinion about that. The reason why that is not the way it should be done. Like, and I guess there's a story behind it. I have crafted a lot of legendaries, and especially after Heart of Thorns, I enjoy the collections for exactly what they are and what they were intended to be, a story. It makes me, in a way, bond with the weapon that I'm actually creating. It makes I know that Inks, you have a very strong opinion in regards to that. It doesn't really feel legendary. The weapons in Guild Wars doesn't really feel legendary. You should feel like a master or whatever. To me, the legendary part of the weapons in Guild Wars is that they actually have a story. Compared to everything else, they have a legend behind them, and that's exactly what these collections have created. They've created really, really good stories, like Nevermore. Amazing. That thing, the story.
I agree with you there. That was amazing.
Genius. You're following this raven through the different layers of the mist. You're escorting it, and you're calming it down to be your weapon. It's amazing. The Astralaria, you are basically designing the universe, and you are understanding the astronomy within the universe, like how everything works. This is what your character is learning, and it's all just comprised into this weapon. The same goes for all the old ones. Just Dusk, you have to go to all the darkest corners of the world and gather the essence of this darkness and create this legendary weapon. The stories is what makes it for me, and so I believe that if it was just dropped again, we would completely lose this feeling. We would lose the entire selling point for why a legendary is a legendary in Guild Wars. Because
100%.
Previously, it didn't feel legendary at all, whatsoever. There was nothing. You threw stuff in the forge. It was shitty. It was badly done. You shouldn't have a precursor drop and just throw money at it. That's not how it works. That's not a legendary. And so with the introduction of the collections, they were able to create the story that really bound people to the stories of these legendaries, whether they liked the collections or not, whether they found that the millions of events that they had to go through were too much, too boring, too grindy, too much waiting time. It still was a part of the journey. And to be honest, I don't even see why a lot of people are complaining about the whole waiting time. Like, I've now created 6 of which are through the collection. like just after Heart of Thorns, and like not necessarily the legendary, but just the precursors, and it's not actually that bad. It's very easily optimized, jumping through maps and whatever, and there's not that big of a problem as I see it, as one who's gone through several. So it would be a shame. It would be horrible, I think, if ArenaNet actually listened to the people saying that they should just implement the weapons. Throw the precursors in the loot table. They should not do it. They shouldn't do it, because they would just destroy everything that this system was built to create.
Now, the new system is incredible. I had probably one of my most favorite experiences in Guild Wars 2 was going through the process of Nevermore, and it really does give you that kind of sense of importance and story to the weapon, which is always something I think has been lacking. Like, as people know, I have Frostfang.
What?
And
really?
But ever since as early as I can remember, and I first previewed the weapon, and I was wanting to know what kind of lore was attached to it, and had all these cool ideas about Jormag and all this stuff. And now we actually have a system in place that can deliver us a story like that. And it's something that, Guild Wars 2 is needed for its legendary weapons, since the very beginning. And the system that's in place, I think, is basically perfect. And I agree, the waiting time isn't too bad. I never had a problem with that. It was a lot of gold to speed it up, but it was good. And so to be honest, in a way, because of that, I would rather there were no new legendaries for a while than they just throw them in the game RNG style. But for a lot of people, though, to get back to the cancellation thing, a lot of people want that kind of end game, grinding out stuff, and they teased us with the new system, and a lot of people, short bow is 2 classes basically use it. It's not gonna, it doesn't give people a lot of options, basically. I know there's staff, and basically everything uses staff, but it's just such a shame that customizing your character is so important in Guild Wars 2. This gives someone it gives people an end game kind of goal that takes a long time, that ensures they're going to be playing for a solid amount of time, and they have this amazing reward that they're going to be happy with at the end. And so to kind of decide to snip that is, I understand it, like I was saying before, but it is just such a shame that we're gonna and they didn't give us any kind of time scale, and I understand why they didn't do that as well. But the word indefinitely just makes me shudder that it's gonna be years maybe, and it's gonna feel weird that some weapons have there's 2 legendaries for I know Greatsword always had it, but I don't know, it's a shame. It's just a real shame, and I have no idea how game development is, but it feels like an awful lot of time has passed. And the 6 people that were on that team, I don't know. I can't.
No, I know what you're saying.
I can't.
It takes you this long to come out with one legendary weapon collection, and we're getting raid wings like that. I think, and this is all hindsight, but I really think that ArenaNet's biggest mistake with the whole new legendary weapon system is the fact that they made collections for all of the Gen 1s. I think they should have left Gen 1 alone. It's in the past. People already have them. I would love to know the lore behind Sunrise, but I'm not going to go and, do the whole collection. I already have it, I would rather work towards making a new one. So I think that if they would have just left the old ones alone, left the system in place, that it's not like they made the collections and then made them untradeable or took them all off the trading post or anything, or made them all account bound. They left all those systems in place and just added the story. And while that's great, if you want to know the story behind your legendary, they could have been focusing on making new ones. And instead of taking all that development time for the old ones, they could have had a full set of new ones. I think that was their biggest mistake.
There was already a system in place for the old ones. It wasn't like they... And we've heard so many times that ArenaNet's had this whole, we've decided to stop focusing on older content so we can focus on bringing you new stuff instead of refining the same thing over and over again. And I feel like, I agree, I wish they had spent that year of no content that we had last year and took the time they spent on doing collections and, you know, assigning events and little trophies for all of these old legendaries, you know, and actually made and implemented new ones. And it was a shame to hear that we weren't gonna go into Heart of Thorns and have this whole, you know, new series, Generation 2 of legendary weapons. And I guess now we're having none. It's a shame, especially because it was such a poster feature of Heart of Thorns anyway.
The biggest problem is, what do you say to the people who, and I don't, I know some people say the only reason I bought Heart of Thorns was for legendaries. I'm not sure I totally buy that.
Stupid.
But what do you say to the people who were really looking forward to, or that was one of the features they were really excited about, and now you simply cut that from the expansion? And despite the, go ahead, Deroir.
No, I was one of those people.
Right. So, what do you say to those people now that this is, for lack of a better word, an incomplete expansion? You have basically taken a feature that would have been on the box. It would have been on the box. You would have flipped the box over, and it would have said.
It was on the website.
And it still is on the website. It would have said, like, you know, X number of new legendaries or whatever, right? And now you're going to say that you simply cut it. It's really tough. That's tough news to deliver, because there is no way to spin that in any way. You say get over it. Yeah, no, it's not acceptable. I'm sorry, but people are just not going to take that news well.
Yeah.
I think that the current system we have is a little bit backwards. I like this idea of the story that's involved. I like this idea of doing specific events or getting particular things, learning about the legendary. I think that's great. I think that should be part of making the legendary and not making the precursor. The precursor could be things, at least in my mind, it could be things, it could be your gold sync, it can be the world completion, it can be the stuff that you throw into the forge, whatever. In my mind, you should build the precursor and then turn it into a legendary by going on this journey or the collection or however you want to display that.
That's exactly what they did with the new ones, though. Every other of the old ones, well, there's always going to be a gold sync, regardless of anything. They're never going to be able to put in a legendary into the game which doesn't have a gold sync without it being completely what's it called, useless, or what's it called, like not worth it, valueless. Anyways, you know what I mean. But the new legendary weapons, you craft the different gifts and all of that stuff, and I think the precursor is done after the third step, but there's still another step, and then you progress with it, so you're actually making the legendary. That's why the new ones feel so much better than the old ones. Like the old ones, you get the precursor, you throw your money or your spirit shards at whatever, and it's done. I completely agree. Not a good system. But the new ones, they have actually worked towards getting something a lot better, I think.
That last step, at least for the old ones, that last step of here's your precursor, you put a lot of work into this, and here's map completion and a bunch of materials that cost a crap ton of money or time, and just throw them into the toilet, and Zormo spits out your legendary. Wow, that's legendary.
Yeah.
I have a big problem with that. And even though they went back and made collections and spent a ton of time, I have no doubt the amount of time, resources, work that went into overhauling those, it's still, at the end of the day, I throw it into the toilet and I flush, and here comes my legendary, and that still feels like crap, quite literally.
It's not like a big moment, really. And the forge just feels kind of, for legendary stuff, it's always felt weird to me. I remember when I first went to the forge, it was kind of like, it just felt like a tool they'd put in the game world, really. Like, it kind of, this is how you do it. It's like, oh, and then we need to make them go out and collect all these materials and do this, but how can we turn it into a legendary? Oh, we'll just basically give them a switch that they can click and it does it. And I'd like for there to be a bit more lore involved. You know, maybe you imbue somewhere in this cool place, you know, you go to a shrine and you put the raven staff down, and then, you know, it does a thing, and then you get nevermore out of it, rather than just kind of,
The
I don't know.
forge. Yeah.
Yeah. The Forge.
Like the Guild Wars 1 Underworld armor, the Forge, where you went to.
Yeah,
Right.
the city and stuff.
I mean, that was a cool system. I completely agree. I can get behind it.
It could even be the exact same process of throw these 4 things in, but instead of going to the Mystic Forge, like you said, you climb the highest mountain where the ravens nest or something, and then that's where you do it. Would feel much more epic than just Sub-Zomeros.
The other thing is, I would love to know how many people was on the original Legendary team when they were building Heart of Thorns, because I really don't think it was 6 or 7, however many devs it was, that they've recently moved over to Living World team now. I really don't think it was 6 devs that took a year's worth of work to build that, because that just doesn't seem feasible from what we're now hearing. So the question I would have is, and I'm just going to make up numbers, these are imaginary numbers, guys, these are not real, but if you had 20 devs originally working on this old system, building all the different pieces and the parts, re-outfitting the old legendaries and building 3 new ones, because that's what we got with Heart of Thorns, when you then take the majority of those devs and move them to something else and only leave 6 people behind, how did you not know that that was going to take infinitely longer than to build out the rest of the new legendaries? Or... I just don't understand that part of it, And I don't know. Maybe 6 people worked on all that stuff, but I find that really hard to believe if, we're getting 1 legendary after about 5 months. Now, the thing that a lot of people kind of skip is, sure, we're getting 1 legendary after 5 months, but we know that significant progress was made on the mace. I'm sure there has been progress made on lots of other pieces of the legendary. They're just not anywhere close to being finished, and that's why... we're not going to see them anytime soon, if ever. So that's kind of upsetting.
Again, we're talking about imaginary numbers, but I get the point you're getting across. I would love for there to still be legendaries in the works.
I can understand why it's a lot of work, because you need to assign events to every single piece of each collection, and go into the world and find a suitable event that fits the theme, and then there were bugs for months with the collections that they added with Heart of Thorns, and so if they were going to do that with a whole new series, it will take some time, and people need to understand that just designing a legendary, getting the 3D model finished, that's a really small part of implementing these weapons, and because you need to match up the system and design the adventure and make it feel that way, and there's only going to be so many events, and we had problems with this event for this collection requires you to fail this event to trigger it, and it's obvious
that should never be a thing.
They obviously kind of went through and didn't properly play through and test it. They would have known that you had to fail that event had they done that. And there's a lot of work that they have in events they have to go through, scroll through, and find and match up and stuff. I can understand why it's taking so long, but like we've said 1,000 times, it's just such a big feature for a lot of people that's just been removed. And and if they had announced this and this was the only problem, it would have been kind of okay, but there's people who are, WvW World people who are distraught at the state of their game, and we're going to probably talk about a decision that has been made, with that and stuff. And there's just overall, people are just not satisfied with Heart of Thorns.
It's a lot of pieces that are just not coming to the light, and this is just another large piece to add on top of that pile that's already been building for a while now.
Right.
Yeah, I think the general kind of unhappiness in the community right now isn't, because of the legendaries. It's because of the legendaries and this, and whatever else people have problems with. And I think it's finally just kind of piled up to a point where it's actually kind of, I don't know.
However,
start to shake things up.
The spring quarterly update, however, which is coming later this month, I'm hoping is going to fix a lot of these problems. They've guaranteed that with this update, they're fixing scribing. They're reducing a lot of scribing costs.
Yes.
They're doing a restructure of fractals, so I don't know exactly what that means.
Well, at least 1 to 50, they're restructuring.
Okay.
There was also
All of it is swamp.
well, there was a comment on Reddit by one of the developers that said somebody said something about swamp, making swamp challenging or something, and he said like challenge accepted. So obviously they're doing something to swamp to make it not so quick to do, I guess. I'm not sure. Who knows exactly what they're going to do. They're not removing it because somebody had said, like, are you just going to remove it? And he said, no, we're not removing any of the fractals. So some sort of restructuring from 1 to 50 because those achievements are going away if you don't have them. So you should probably do that before the 19th if you want them. And, yeah, and some other changes to fractals as well, I guess.
Yeah. Now, this isn't the adding in new fractals. That's coming before the end of the year, so they've promised.
Yeah,
This
not new fractals.
This isn't new fractals. This is another restructure to hopefully make things better for current fractals. This is also the update where they said they're reducing a lot of grind in the Heart of Thorns maps. Adventures are going to be more accessible. They're going to be available more often. There's going to be, hopefully, and I don't know how they're going to implement this, but, a lot less waiting around to have fun, waiting around for those Heart of Thorns meta events. Hopefully they've somehow, made
Well,
that...
Deroir's mastered that anyway.
Yeah,
With your
exactly.
map swapping techniques.
I mean, Ex Machina, easiest title in the game. No problemo whatsoever. I mean, I'll be straight up about that. Like, that is the worst part about that is that it is actually, it feels like it's one of the easiest things to get if you just know how to do it. And you don't even have to do it with several accounts. You can do it with a single account just over longer periods of time. I still, like, to this very day, in preparation, which has now died down, but in preparation for the new legendaries, I just casually jumped in for like 15 minutes, got full reward for a map for practically doing nothing.
Right.
Like, that's a bad system. That is a horrible system.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Making adventures more accessible is supposed to be on that list as well. So that'll be good, because currently I don't do adventures at all. I really can't be bothered to make sure that which ones are open, which ones are closed, to go do events to open the one that I want to be open. I just can't be bothered, to be quite honest. It's just annoying to me. I have nothing. I don't really have a big issue with doing the adventures or the adventures themselves. I just don't want to, like, I go to a map, I look, if it's not open, whatever. I don't even bother trying to open it or unlock it or whatever.
Yeah, same.
It's funny because most of the like from spending a lot of time trying to figure out how everything worked, it's funny to see that most of the most complained about adventures, like, say, for example, the shooting gallery.
Yep.
It's never open. People say it's never open. It's directly linked to the fact that nobody ever does the Ferris Flyer outpost ever, and you don't even have to complete it. You just have to take it halfway. Then it opens up, and once you realize that, you're just like, all right, let's get on with it. Same goes for what's that? The ones in Tangled Depth, the shooting. Oh, what's it called? Scrap rifle. Still, it's only half the outpost of the, what's it called? The western thing. That thing in the corner. Not the ogre, the vigil, whatever, that thing.
I don't know that
Right
I've
where
ever
it is.
even done that adventure.
Haven't even done that adventure. So
How
there
terrible
goes to show
is that?
you.
I mean,
I made it a thing. I had to get every single mastery point available. Like, that was my goal. Like, I had to remove all of those green stars from my achievement panel. It is
my
finally,
gosh.
like,
Star.
when they fixed the scoring for that K-Wire Punch-O-Matic,
Yeah.
that thing, that was just horrendous. But when they fixed
Which
it,
is
I was
fun.
done. It was amazing.
Like, I love that.
25
I love
extra.
that adventure, but yeah,
yeah.
It was a pain.
I enjoy a number of the adventures. But if I go and it's open, sure, I'll jump in and I'll play them. But I'm not going to go out of my way to open the adventures and try. Not only that, but if you're in the middle of playing one of them, and you're this close to silver or gold or whatever you're trying to achieve, and then it just like closes on you, and it's like,
oh my god, yeah. I've had that happen.
I just needed one more attempt. What are you doing to me? Why are you kicking me out? It's annoying. It's really annoying. So I'm really interested to see how they're going to rework that.
Yeah.
Something that I think they should probably look at that they didn't mention. Now, keep in mind that this blog post by Mo was not totally complete. He just kind of highlighted certain areas. But some of the guild hall costs, I think, might need to be looked at a little bit.
Like costs for upgrading the guild hall in general?
Even some of the
like
even some of the decoration costs can be a bit
yeah,
expensive. So I don't know.
That's through the scribing system, which is being reworked. So I just hope it's not like this slight tweak. So instead of 2,000 gold for Uzulan's magic Kuzuma it's 1,700 gold. Yay! No, unacceptable.
It's something.
It's something.
I mean, I think like the general theme of this this update is it's improvements for sure.
Yeah.
But it's not really content.
No.
And I mean, you could
it's
argue
fixing,
that it's
year
opening
was about
up adventures.
Fixing what's currently in the game, and that's what they're doing.
Yeah, and like I mean, you could argue that it's opening up adventures that people never do, so that's new stuff you can do, and people who can't, do scribing and stuff are gonna have a better shot at doing that stuff. But I think it's important for people to not kind of look forward to it too much. At least for me, anyway. Like I always get excited when there's a patch, even if it's just a bug fix, and then I read that it's a bug fix, and I'm like, okay. And this is like a big quarterly update, and it's hard for me not to kind of feel like, oh, I'm excited. But it's kind of just shifts, it's changing numbers in the game. It's kind of, mechanics rather than more stuff to do. And I played a lot of Heartthorns, and I've done a lot of stuff in it. It's not like I've never done adventures or anything like that. And so the fact that they're changing the timers or the event requirements or something like that isn't something that I can really get excited about. It's good for the game for sure, and I'm glad they're doing it just because it is just an improvement. But I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna feel that urge to log in on patch day and play the new scribing system. It just doesn't sound
I am.
like
I can't
something,
wait to get my scribing to 400.
I'm excited. I'm excited to throw my gold away.
I've been stuck at 46 for too long.
It's definitely stuff that I'll do. Like right now, I'm not really doing any of the events in any of the maps. I just couldn't be bothered. I'm either raiding SAB because it just came out. I'm either raiding, PvPing, or doing fractals. I really could care less about the new maps as far as grinding and doing all that stuff. So, I mean, hopefully this patch will make me more interested, at least going in to try to see how I feel about that content now.
Right.
We'll see.
Well, it's not going to be...
I'm very curious.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
I was going to move on.
I'm very curious personally because I have absolutely no idea what it's actually going to bring. I think it's going to come down to like the launch day for me, whether it's actually interesting or not. Because I see no way that they can actually make those maps that much more engaging, for me at least. I'm not going to say that that's a general thing for everyone, but for me, like I think it's a very hard pull because they are originally designed to be extremely grindy, which is a philosophy I can understand in an MMORPG because they need people to constantly play, but it's still meh.
Yeah.
I really kind of wish that half of the Heart of Thorns maps would have been the way they are, with the grind and the constant meta events. And I wish the other two would have been regular maps with events and dynamic events going on, but not necessarily this overarching meta that's on a constant timer and that sort of thing.
Because there's a whole argument of all these events that are interlinked and stuff that kind of makes the map feel alive. But I actually think like the kind of on a strict timer and you do this and then this and then this is it doesn't feel organic, and I actually feel way less immersed. I'd feel better off in like a kind of quiet map with hardly anything going on in it, just because I can explore and I can feel like I'm in this place in the world, rather than like I'm just kind of running through, a timer. So I agree, like a balance between the two would have been amazing. in Heart of Thorns.
I like the meta events. I enjoy them when I've done them, but admittedly, I haven't done them very often because you have to be in the right place, the right time, know what you're doing, and I just feel like I never am, unfortunately.
You have to be in the right mindset for it as well, I think, to sit down and focus and then have like a clear goal in front of you and just kind of focus on it. And so you can't really just run around exploring and looking for little things to do because they're all, or the vast majority anyway, linked into this huge, massive, kind of crushing meta event. You can't just go in and do like a little event because you always feel like, oh, well, I should then do the next thing, and then we attack, we have to defend, and it's just all this stuff.
If I stay here just a half hour more, I'll be able to do the event and get all these rewards.
Yeah.
Do I have half an hour? I don't know. Is it going to even succeed?
Speaking of exactly that, I think actually I just thought about this. The way that they could actually get me interested to a certain degree in doing the actual events progressively through the entire thing and just like jump in would be to give at least decent rewards for simple events like they've done with Silver Waste.
Mm-hmm.
But that may even just completely crash the entire value of the currency at the same time. But that would actually, in a way, make me very interested in doing the events.
Well, yeah, because it assigns value to the smaller things. Because
exactly,
you can see it in Dragon's Stand that like it's like an hour to 2 hours that you have to set aside, and the whole time you don't care about what event you're doing. You're waiting for the final fight right at the end, right, to get that thing that you want.
Right.
And you've been grinding for this long for that kind of one payoff. If they can spread it out and make it rewarding all the way through that hour, 2 hours, then it's going to be a lot more interesting and fun to do and better overall, I think. And yeah, people can farm it and get loads of money, but then people have been doing that for Silver Waste for 2 years now.
Always find a way to farm. So.
Yeah. I know all about that.
So, as we mentioned briefly before, Mo said not with the spring update, but they're bringing back the Alpine Borderlands for World vs. World.
Yes.
Which
Which
is very
the
important.
saddest thing ever. I mean, I understand a lot of people want it, but what a shame for them to set aside all that time to develop these new maps, and then they have to just revert it back to the old ones.
Well, and the old one needs work, because the old one doesn't work.
Yeah.
It's not plug and play. So I really hope that, I've seen a lot of comments as soon as Mo said that, of like, yay, Alpine Borderlands. I really hope that they realize that that's not coming with the spring quarterly.
There are a lot of people who thought, because it was odd that was bundled into the same blog post.
It's coming back.
Yeah.
Like I think he just wanted people to know, like, hey, we had this poll, here are the results, this is what we're going to do.
Feedback, and we're going to do something
and that's
about it,
great, but please do not expect this to come with
in
the
2
spring
weeks.
quarterly, because you're not getting it then.
No.
They need they need to outfit it for Heart of Thorns.
Yeah.
Mm.
In general, I think the tendency that at least I've seen in specifically in PvP and World vs. World is the idea that for it to actually be competitive and feel competitive, it needs to be fair. And fairness is based on how equal both sides are, or how in any given situation, regardless of what tower you're trying to take or what point you're trying to get in PvP, it needs to feel fair and balanced between the two groups. And simplicity is the only way to go about that. Which is why if you, I don't know how much you guys have played PvP these seasons, but the majority of every single fight will have, it's like a 90% certainty that you're going to be playing on the forest map, because it's plain, it's super simple, it's extremely balanced between both teams. If the teams are balanced themselves, the map is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
The other ones are too intricate, and the same goes for Stronghold.
Really bad luck.
Yeah, okay. The same goes for Stronghold. Like, it's super intricate, and it looks fancy. There's a lot of things going on, but it's not necessarily balanced. The same goes for the new Borderland, the Desert Borderland. it doesn't feel balanced, and that's why people want the old super bland, very very plain map, the
Flat
Alpine
map.
Borderland back.
Yeah.
Which I absolutely hate. I do. Just like the visual scope of it. I'm not a World vs. World player. I'll be the first to say that. I really enjoy the visual feeling that I get from stepping into the new Borderland, and I think it's a damn shame that something this awesome looking is just going away for the sake of it being competitive. But I do see why people want it back. But that doesn't mean it's super sad anyways, and why Stronghold isn't being played anymore, or why every other map except for Forest is being played in PvP.
Yeah.
It's just, and the same goes for the maps in the PvE zones. Like, they went with this super detailed thing, and a lot of people just want more simple stuff as well. Like, we like the super complicated maps and intricate map metas, but there needs to be.
That's not all it should be.
They don't play World
Exactly.
versus
There
World
needs
for the
to be,
environment.
like, this counter
They
thing.
play it for the I mean, not the decorativeness and the elaborateness of the environment. They play it for the battlefield itself.
Yeah. I mean, the vast majority of World v. World players play on lowest settings, you know, so they can have the highest amount of frames and they can counter the Zergs, you know, that whole thing. I agree, like, they kind of... And it's very big and very spread out, and it's also... And going back to, like, you talking about fairness, you know, each kind of... Whatever color you are, it changes kind of the bonuses you have in certain areas, you know, being able to go in the lava or being permanently stealthed in that place. Like, it's a cool mechanic, and it's a really... It's, you know, I can understand, like, it sounds fun as hell to do PvP in, but I agree. I think World v. World needs very flat, very even kind of battlegrounds that are, you know, that, like, the reason you won is because you guys played better or were, you know, more strategically placed or something, rather than, oh, but their whole thing was permanently stealthed in this area, you know, or they don't get hit by falling damage. So, you know, that whole thing, like, it's a cool mechanic to play around in, but the main Borderlands, you know, for this game mode should be as even and as fair as possible. And it's a shame that we're reverting back. I think that's always, like, a sad thing where an expansion comes out with new stuff and then they just go back to, like, that's sad.
So what
And
you do,
hopefully-
you take those new Borderlands, you split it up and make those the new fractals.
Well, I'm hoping that, like, eventually...
I vote yes.
I
hope
see a lot of
eventually
people
we
talking...
get new Borderlands, and this is just a temporary fix or something. You know, like maybe in a few months after they revert back, we get something brand new that's, you know, a lot more optimized for the game mode. But I don't know. It's always sad to take a step back, I think.
I see a lot of people talking about that they're going to rotate the maps and stuff, and I think that's the end goal eventually. But when the Alpine comes back, they haven't talked, at least yet, about any sort of rotation for the time being. So just a guess, but what I think is going to happen is when Alpine is ready, they'll release Alpine, and that will be the permanent map for the time being, and they'll probably work on the other Borderland map to change it, fix it, do something to it to make it more appealing, and then eventually add in some sort of rotation. I don't know. When Alpine comes back, they haven't talked at all about any sort of rotation. It sounds like Alpine is going to be the Borderlands that you'll play on, at least for the time being. That doesn't mean that they're going to throw that map away forever. They'll do something with it. They'll probably change it, hopefully get some World vs. World player input and make it more suitable or more enjoyable for those players, and then they'll be able to rotate those maps in some fashion. But just like you're not getting Borderlands in the Spring Quarterly, I wouldn't expect a rotation right away either.
Nope.
Yeah. So to end the show here, what is everybody's current in-game? What are you working on? What is your current goal, your current...
Well, it was
Playing
legendaries.
SAB. Yeah, it was legendary.
Well, besides SAB. Obviously SAB.
I mean, I basically have the materials for 2. I was so expectant to get some, but no. No. So I don't know. That's sort of the thing. I don't know what I'm working on right now, because everything I've been working for like 3 months is just invalidated.
Oof.
So, to a certain degree, I'm not actually working on much except for SAB, which I'm just pouring everything into right now. Just rawr. Yeah, that's what I'm doing.
I'm sorry, that was so sad. It's like 3 months of work just gone, just invalidated.
I mean, at some point, at some indefinite specific time,
maybe you'll just whatever its name is, Chupa and Cabra, just will blow your mind. I don't know what's the name of it. It's got like 2 names.
I don't know.
Chuka.
Something in
Chumbawamba.
Chumpa.
Yeah, no, it's Chuka and Chumpawat. Or Chupa and
that's
something like
It's
that.
probably going to be like two tigers on each of the different like bows.
Yeah.
And
Eating a child.
I would absolutely, I would die. I would have a complete rage fit if the tiger bow now roars when you shoot it. I would say no way, no. I'm turning
the
off
dreamer
all game
shoots
sound.
unicorns.
Never
This one
happening.
could shoot tigers. That'd be cool.
I was
Tigers that roar.
me and another friend were doing fractals the other night. We were doing like 77, whatever the high swamp is. And we had a thief in the party who was using the dreamer. All he was doing was pressing 1 as well, which is anyway.
Of course.
But all I kept hearing, like, I have the sound really low. I really don't play with the sound on high. And I kept hearing, like, this little sound, like, every couple of seconds. Like, what the hell is that sound? He's like, he's got the dreamer. It's a freaking horse, like, neighing every couple of seconds. And he started talking about the tiger, and he said, you know the shortbow is totally going to go roar every time it shoots. Roar, roar, roar. I was like, it better not.
It better not. Like, oh, I would be so mad.
I mean, I totally made quip because I wanted to annoy people with the ping ping sound, the little sound, but
The troll pistol.
yeah.
It's horrible. It's horrible. All of those projectile sounds. I just can't. No. Not when they're annoying.
Yeah, it roars and shoots tigers. They just reskinned the dreamer to be.
The tigers will even have little.
There's still rainbows. They
horns.
forgot to remove them.
Oh man.
Oh,
I
I sure hope not.
pretty much, well, besides just trying to find time to log in and even do dailies lately, raiding is when I log in the most is 3 times a night. We log in and raid, and we're on Matthias right now, and we've got
3 times a week. Jimmy.
three times. What did I say? 3 times.
3 times a night.
I was like, that's a lot.
That's a lot of raiding. Well, see, I keep logging in because I keep getting disconnected. No, so we gotta log in 3 times a night. Anyway, 3 times a week for 3 hours a night. That's the most Guild Wars 2 time I get now, except if I'm like streaming. Yeah, I mean, I still love raids. We're working on taking down Matthias. We are about halfway through them. We've gotten to like the end of the fire phase. Haven't quite transitioned into the next phase yet, but slowly making the progress on it, and that just keeps me excited about playing my class and trying to get better and understanding the fight, it's just such a good feeling when you finally bring that boss down. But other than that, when I do log in, getting mastery points, because I haven't, I'm at the point where I need mastery points to, I have all the experience, now I just need mastery points to unlock them, so I'm going to have to get some advice from Deroir to how do I clear out all of those mastery points.
All the many, yeah.
From
that's gonna be a lot easier when the patch hits, hopefully.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Or at least more accessible.
Exactly. So
I've got a lot of hints for each of them. Sorry, Corvus.
That's okay.
just say when.
all right.
I've been playing PvP every now and then. I'm still kind of very slowly collecting my gold to buy all of the mats I need to finish Nevermore. Obviously, SAB's back, so that's going to be my main focus for the next bit. But Leagues end, SAB ends, and after that, I have no idea, really, what I'm going to be doing. Which is a sad thing. I don't raid, I need a raid team. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. I'll find something to do after that.
Besides SAB, because obviously now I'll be farming that. I was doing my dailies. I do the 3 fractals every day within 45 minutes, an hour, whatever it takes. And I just work on achievements, basically. Slowly work on an achievement here, there. I was playing a lot of PvP when the season started. I kind of just do the dailies now. I'm like mid-Ruby, and I'll make sure that I make it to Diamond before it ends, but it's only because I want the back piece. Otherwise, I don't care, to be honest. Just doing achievements.
I'm only doing that. The only reason I'm going into PvP is for that back piece, because I'm so sour the PvE back piece is now. I am so bitter, like on a whole extreme level. I can't even fathom it.
Well, we don't know if that's coming in the spring quarterly. I hope it is. I hope we finally get that.
It better.
But they didn't really touch on that piece of information yet. Who knows? Maybe this week or next week they'll talk about that on Guild Chat or something. But yeah, I mean, I like Deroir, I've been waiting to make my legendary PvE back piece. Really haven't been raiding as much. I jump in and kill a boss here and there, but I've been losing my patience with raiding, to be honest. My patience is short. So there's that, I guess.
Angry inks.
Not angry. I don't know. We raid at night. I'm tired by the time that time comes, and I just don't have the energy to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, we raid from my 9:30 p.m. to 12:30 a.m. and
that's like
by the end of it, I'm just exhausted. I've been a zombie the past couple of nights. Hopefully this night will be better.
Well, I've been playing PvP. Oh, sorry. All right. Sorry. I'll shut up.
Corvus. Corvus.
I'll be quiet. I'll shut up. No. You don't want me here. Fire me.
Fire you. No. Anyway, I've already started the music, so that means we have to wrap up the show.
Oh, okay.
Thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned, though. If you're watching live on Twitch, do not go anywhere, because we will be right back in about 10 seconds for the post-show, and we'll continue to answer your questions and talk about everything. And Corvus can tell his magical stories.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Deroir, for joining us today. This was so much fun.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
It was fun.
Yeah.
I love to hear.
If you're watching on YouTube, check down in the description. There will be links to all of our channels. Go there for more Guild Wars 2 content, and we will see you next week. Take care, guys, and have fun in Super Adventure Box. Bye!
Yay!